Hey everyone, it's Ten Tights, and today I'm super excited to be taking a look at Perfect Order here today and ranking all of the cards from the set that are good. So this is going to include all of the EXs, all of the trainers, and a bunch of single prizes as well that I think are interesting, with an exception of a few trainers, which I'll quickly go over. But Perfect Order is coming out March 27th in internationally, and it is a small set, but it is a pretty good set, as we'll see. I think it's not like absurd, but it's pretty good. It is a main set, the first main set of the year. And the expansion Nile Zero or Municus Zero, it's been translated a few different ways, is coming out in Japan the 23rd of January, which is what's today? I don't know what today is. But it's in a couple of days. So that's like really exciting. And that's going to accompany rotation, where we're going to lose all of the G block cards. These are going to be cards like Iono, Professor's Research, something like Gardevoir EX, Charizard EX, things like that. A lot of really powerful and interesting cards that we are going to lose from the game, so the meta's going to change, and I'm very excited for that. I will be covering that more at some point. I have covered some. Long story short, I think Dragapult EX is going to be super good. I've seen, I mean, if you look at the metagame right now, the decks that are good are, like Dragapult's one of the top decks. The other top decks, for the most part, are rotating. And then Dragapult isn't really losing much at all. I mean, it's losing trainers that like help it set up, but that's true for every deck. Cards like Nest Ball and I don't know, right? Every deck's like losing those. Yes, maybe Dragapult uses them better than some decks, but like it's still every deck is losing them. Theoretically, a deck like say Alakazam or certain decks get punished by some of these cards, but also a lot of those decks are really bad against Dragapult, right? So it's kind of hard to see Dragapult not being the best deck. I really think that's going to be the case, and I don't think that's a hot take at all. But anyways, there are going to be some new decks as well, and some new cards to replace old cards in decks as well. Some really cool cards to talk about here. The cards I'm not talking about today, though, there's one that is very, very good. It's probably the best card in the set, which is Pokepad. The reason I'm not talking about Pokepad today is because it's coming out. It's already out in Japan. It's in, I believe, Ascended Heroes. So, yeah, it's not new in this set, but it is in the set, and it is very good, or at least it's in the set in Japan. And then there's also the two trainers, Antique Jaw Fossil and Antique Sail Fossil. And these are fossils. I actually made a video talking about fossils pretty recently. Check that out if you haven't. But they're like not normal trainers, right? And they don't really do anything. So yeah, I'm not going to include them in today's video either because they're like previous evolutions. So I am talking about both their evolutions, which I don't know if they deserve, but I am doing that. But anyways, let's just start, and I'll actually start with the trainers, which are generally going to be the best cards. So first of all, we got ourselves what's the name of this card? Is it Energy Core? No, Core Memory. And this is a tool. Oh wait, maybe I shouldn't start with this one. I'll actually save this one till later because it only works in Zygarde EX. It's a weird card. But we have Energy. What are the names of these cards? These are also translated, so the names might not be quite right for the names of the trainers. What they do should be right, though. But Energy Juice Water here says your opponent reveals their hand, you choose an energy card, you find them, put it on the bottom of your opponent's deck. This is not just basic energy, so it can get special energies. It's kind of like, what's the card? Grabber? Yeah, Grabber, which is rotating, but it is in standard. It's like okay, but it gets a Pokemon, which is going to be a bit better, realistically. And Grabber isn't that good either. Realistically, I don't expect this card to be very good. Grabber can be good to get rid of energy, which your opponent might kind of be saving for later. They're not like really saving energy that much for later, so for the most part, I think Grabber is pretty bad. I'll put in D tier. It's not a card that's like unplayably bad, I guess. I mean, it's pretty bad. If you want an F tier, I could see that, but I'm gonna leave it in D tier. I could see it seeing play at some point. I mean, it theoretically could go in any deck as well. Then we have the next card here, which is Lumiose Galette. This is an item that says you heal 20 and a special condition from your active. This is a reprint of Big Malasada. Not super good. Special conditions aren't super meaningful. I can't think of any in standard that are super meaningful. I guess there's like Confusion on Monkey Dory. There's some like poison stuff. That's also rotating for the most part. So Lumiose Galette is pretty bad. I mean, I'll put in D tier next to Energy Swatter. It's not like the worst card ever, but it's like outclassed by Potion. I don't know if Potion is rotating. I guess I'll check on that. So, Potion. is rotating apparently, but that doesn't really matter. I don't think. I can't think of the last time I've seen someone play this. Wow, that's been a long time in major tournaments. So yeah, it's pretty bad, but like theoretically it's okay, right? And then we have the next card here. This card is Tarragon. Tarragon is a really interesting supporter here. This is a fighting type support card. And there's support for fighting a bunch of the set. There's some support for psychic and a little for grass as well, and some other types. But Tarragon is a really cool card here. To the reprint of Tulip as well as Nessa, putting for any combination of fighting Pokemon and fighting basic energy or basic fighting energy from your discard into your hand, which is pretty nice, right? It's recovering a good chunk of cards. We are losing Super Odd as well, though we're not losing Lana's Aid, which is kind of similar to this, but these effects are like okay. If you have good synergies with them, they're pretty good. I mean, like Blood Moon or Saluna is fighting and wants fighting energy, so it's pretty good there. Um, that guy's not that good, right? Let's be honest. Blood Moon or Saluna is not super good. I mean, I've like almost never seen it to be honest, but in general, fighting. I mean, it has a lot of really good support cards, and Tarragon itself is a pretty good support card. I think the type it's on is kind of meh, and its effect is like good, but not great. I'm gonna put it in B tier. I think is pretty fair. If you wanted an A tier, I could see it. I don't know if it'll see that much play, but it is a pretty decent card here. Definitely not bad at all. If you think this card's like a card you really want to play with, I don't blame you at all. I think it's a pretty cool card here. Then we have Naveen. This says discard any number of cards from hand, then draw until you have 5 cards in hand. I believe the same as Sightseer. This can draw you, I mean, up to 5, right? It can always draw you 5, and unless you have 5 cards in the deck. So yeah, I mean, this is going to be drawing you an all right amount of cards. But I mean, we already have Carmen. I think Carmen's actually going to be very good. I'll get to that later on in this video. But Naveen, I mean, yes, comparing it to Carmen, it's like kind of better because it lets you keep cards that you want, which can be nice. You will draw less. But again, you could always discard your whole hand and then draw 5. But Carmen, like as a draw supporter, just isn't super good. We are losing research, so maybe Carmen will like take its place. But I mean, I just don't think Carmen's that good as a draw supporter, and Naveen's like also it's kind of similar there. And Carmen is usable turn 1. That's like what makes it good. And as I said, I'll get to that. But I think Naveen's not super good here. It's like an okay draw supporter though, so I'm not going to put any lower than C tier. Do I expect it to see play? Not. I don't think it's super likely, but like, I mean, it's a decent card, right? It's fine. It's definitely a fine card. Then we have the next card, the third supporter in a row here of 4 Rose's Encouragement. It's another card that works for any type, but not any deck. You attach up to 2 basic energy from your discard pile to one of your stage 2 Pokemon in play if you are down on prize cards. So if you're losing, I've heard some talk about this being like good for Dragapult, which I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's actually that good for Dragapult. Literally it's outclassed by, I'd say it's outclassed by Crispin. Like Crispin works if you're tied or in the lead, and also searches, which is probably better than getting it from this card. Certainly earlier on, and with decks with not that many energy cards and not that many discard outlets, especially with the research rotating there. And then this only works with stage 2s. Stage 2s are, I mean, I guess they're good in standard right now, but like you need to also have an energy hungry stage 2. That also would rather have this over Crispin. I mean, I suppose Crispin will be rotating before this, and if a card's just like worse than another card, but still like okay, if that other card didn't exist, then I'm not going to slam it too much. But I don't really see Rose's Encouragement being. I'm not putting an F tier. I'm just like leaving it here to talk about real quick. But it's not super good. I'm going to put it in. I guess I'll put it in C tier. I mean, Accelerating 2 Energy is good. Just generally stage 2s are clunky, and then accelerating lots of energy is also kind of clunky when it has like some condition tied to it. So I think this is, it kind of reminds me of reversal energy, really high ceiling. I'd say the ceiling is not as high as reversal, but it is still pretty high. But on top of that, it's also a card that I just don't think it's going to be played in very good decks, right? You could play this in something like Hydreigon EX, let's be honest, Hydreigon is funny, but it like isn't super good. I'll put this in C tier. It's okay. I'm not really ordering things within tiers either here, but it's okay, but it's not that good. We got Jacinth here. This one is a healing supporter, which just says heal 150 for one of your psychic Pokemon. Honestly, I think this card's like decent. I mean, healing 150 is a lot, like quite simply. And The issue is like, what are you gonna play this with? It needs to be a psychic Pokemon, so it's not gonna be like Dragapult. But I mean, like something could come along. I don't think there's really anything in this set or in like standard that's surviving rotation that's super good. That's psychic with, you need high HP here, and realistically something else defensive. Psychic's not generally a defensive type. And generally healing supporters aren't super good, but generally they heal quite a lot less than this as well, like half as much. So I think this card is decent. I don't know the use case of it, to be honest, though. I mean, for a healing supporter, I think it's decent. I guess I'll also put it into C tier. I could definitely see it being played and being good. I think more likely than not, it's not going to see play really, though. So yeah, I think C tier is fair for it. Moving on to our stadium here, we got Lumio City, which says once during each player's turn, they may search the deck for a basic, put it onto their bench. So kind of like a reprint of Artizone, except that it ends your turn when you use it. So that is bad. That it ends your turn, right? It's definitely not as good as Artizone. That being said, it's definitely a card that I think is theoretically interesting. We've seen stadiums that end your turn be like pretty decent. Getting any basic onto your bench is nice. Using this turn one is pretty good, or very good, honestly. Going first, going second, it's you could like get it easier by playing a supporter, but also like you'd rather like attack with some setup attack or some disruptive attack there. But Lumio City, I think it's okay, but I just don't know if it'll see any play, honestly, because I mean ending your turn is like bad, right? Like obviously, you want to do stuff on your turn, and can't search this out turn one. So, well, I do think it's a cool card. I just don't think it's super good, unfortunately. I'm honestly gonna put it in. I'll put in C tier. I think in the control deck. Okay, there's a lot of cards that are in C tier. They're not all in the own C tier. But I think this in a control style deck could be fine. Um, Not amazing, but like okay, or like some slower deck, but that's a little niche as well there. Then we have the special energies, which I've forgotten here, so I'll add those in real quickly here. Okay, the special energies are in. I paused the recording, and it's back, and I did it. I don't know how I missed these, especially because this is the number one card I want to talk about, the Psychic one. But I'll talk about the other two first. Grow Grass Energy, 20 more HP on a Grass Pokemon. It's fine. I mean, I guess in general with these special energies, so they're all a type of energy here, and they're always that type of energy. So some special energies aren't always the type of energy, but they are. So you can use these more or less in the place of the basic energies. Then if they're attached to a Pokemon of the type, like, grass on a grass Pokemon, then it's going to give you some other benefit, like Grow Grass giving you 20 more HP. So if it's on a grass Pokemon, it's both benefits, but if it's on a regular Pokemon, it's just going to be the energy there that's providing. And then you also have the fact that they are special energies, which means they don't have they're more vulnerable to special energy disruption, which you'll see some of honestly in like kind of weird places as well. You might just kind of stumble across it, and that's bad. And then on top of that, also you're going to not be able to recover these or switch out as well. You need to like use something more specialized, no pun intended there, like Colossus Nasty or Hilda, as opposed to like, well, Earthen Vessel's rotating, but something like that. Then the things that they do, so Grow Grass, as I said, it's 20 more HP. 20 more HP is like fine. This doesn't work with Mega Venusaur. Does it work with Meganium? Let me check here. I don't remember. It does not. Okay, so yeah, it doesn't work with Meganium. Grass is kind of meh, to be honest, but it does like to be big, so I don't actually hate this, but it doesn't like have the right synergies. I think it's unfortunately not super good. I could see this in C tier. I guess I'll check it in C tier. I mean, actually, HP is always fine. Again, there's a lot of cards in C tier right now, but it's whatever. It's kind of fine, I guess. Then we have the fighting one, which I'll talk about next. That is Rock Fighting Energy, which says that you are immune to effects of attacks done to the Pokemon this card is attached to. I think this is a bit better. Being immune to attacks is nice. That being said, it's pretty situational. There's something like, say, Alakazam, which can't hit you if you're immune to effects of attacks, and this is pretty nice. That being said, this is also, I'd say, more situational than Grow Grass. This one, I think, is also going to end up in E tier. Unfortunately, that these are all like here together. But then the one that I'm most interested to talk about is Telepath Psychic Energy. Telepath Psychic Energy has the effect that when you play it from your hand to attach it to, of course, one of your psychic Pokemon, you can search your deck for 2 basic psychic Pokemon and put them onto your bench, then shuffle your deck. So it's like it's Pokemon search. It's like Nest Ball kind of. It's obviously limiting because it searches psychic Pokemon and needs to be attached to a psychic Pokemon. So, you look at standard and you see like Alakazam. My first thought was like, yeah, this is like super good in Alakazam. But then the more I thought about it, I was like, well, I mean, it's pretty good, but also there's a downside to it being a special energy, right? The things I talked about before. And on top of that, it's also a card that it searches for two psychic Pokemon, but you already have a psychic Pokemon in play, and you run four basics, so yeah, that could work. But like, you're not going to get this isn't going to be like a Pokemon search card all the time that's getting like super good value. The first time it might get really good value though. So it is like good in a psychic deck. Realistically, I think you're looking for multiple psychic lines. If you can do that, this is going to be super good. I think in a deck like Alakazam, it's just pretty good. I mean, I think it's still pretty good there. I think honestly, you could play this in Dragapult as well. I think I mentioned this in a video the other day talking about Colossus Tenacity actually. And I think I'm really interested in hearing people's thoughts down below in the comment section if this card is worth playing in Dragapult. Keep in mind this is post rotation, so no Luminous Energy. If you had Luminous Energy, I'd say this is definitely a no, because that's a big downside compared to a basic Psychic. But you're not reliant on too much basic energy stuff. There's not too much special energy counter stuff going on in the format either. And then, so if this is just attached to your Dragapult, it's just like a basic Psychic with a little bit of downside. And then if you attach it to a Duskull or Latias, you actually realistically think the Psychic Pokemon you'll be running is going to be two Duskull and a Latias. You could run Monkey. I mean, okay, I think Monkey Dory in Dragapult post rotation is like pretty bad. I guess it kind of depends exactly how you're running it, but I mean, right now in standard it's fine because it's very easy to slot in. But if you're not running that, then Telepath Psychic becomes less interesting there and less powerful. And none of those Pokemon you're looking to attack with. That being said, if you have an extra attachment, it is just upside. A basic Psychic certainly isn't going to be getting those. I guess with Duskull's attack, it like kind of does. But yeah, I mean, this is a little bit upside, a little bit of downside. I think it's honestly pretty even compared to a basic Psychic, which is interesting. But in general, I think that this card is like pretty good. In some next, it's gonna be amazing or just like quite good, like an Alakazam. It's gonna be good. In like a deck that plays multiple psychic lines, it's gonna be like so good. And in some other random decks, it'll be kind of fine, being an extra Pokemon search card from time to time and being like a card that's like low downside other times. So I think this card is quite good. I'm gonna put in A tier. I don't think it's wrong card. I don't think it's an S tier card, but I do think it is a pretty good card, and a card I'm honestly very excited for. As I said, the reason I made this video here. But then we have the last trend we're covering, which is Core Memory, which says the Mega Zygarde DX, this card is attached. You can use the attack on this card, which is a Geobuster 350 for 4th, and you discard all fighting from this Pokemon. And then we have Mega, where is it? Mega Zygarde DX itself, which has 2 attacks, Gaia Wave for 2. What is it? It does 200 for 3. There we go. And it takes 30 less damage next turn. That's like fine. I mean, it's kind of bad on a Mega, to be honest, right? And then it does have HP, but like, the attack's kind of bad. Then the second one, Moonicus Zero, which is what the set is named after. This one here says that for each of your opponent's Pokemon, you flip a coin. If heads, it does 150 to that Pokemon. This is like okay. I mean, honestly, it's kind of bad. It's really funny, but it's like, it's a lot of energy here. It's not consistent. And even if you like get all heads, I guess if you flip like 6 heads or whatever, it's like very good. But it was also like bench protection, stuff like that. So I think this card is unfortunately pretty bad. I'm gonna put it in D tier. I think it's bad. I think the tool is like all right. I'll put the tool in tier. I could even see in B tier. I'll toss in C tier. And there's the Barbaracle here, which is a really nice card. Once you turn, you can attach a basic fighting from your hand to one of your bench fighting Pokemon. Honestly, as said, I think the fighting stuff is kind of, or the fighting main Pokemon are kind of meh, but the support is super good. I think Barbaracle is a really nice piece within the fighting package, alongside really powerful cards like Premium Power Pro, Solrock, or no, Lunatone, and Fighting Gong, as well as something like Solrock, which is good, and Tarragon as well. These are like nice cards. So I'm gonna put this in. Is it B or A tier? Honestly, I'm gonna put this in A tier. I really do like this card. I like cards like this, and I think if we see the right Pokemon come alongside it, it's really nice. It accelerates 2 fighting Pokemon, so it needs to have a good fighting Pokemon to pair with it, not just a good colorless Pokemon. But I think alongside all the other stuff, I do expect this card to be good at some point. If we get even like a pretty good fighting Pokemon, maybe Mega Lucario. I don't think Mega Lucario is like super good, but it's a little interesting there. Then I'll talk about, I guess, the fossils. Now I'm kind of going. Actually, no. I'll just say I'll talk about the EXs. So I'll do that. So I guess I'll talk about, let's see. Oh, there's a bunch in this set. I'll talk about actually Galadiax or Mega Galadiax or whatever. This card is not in Municasir. This card is in perfect order though. This card is like some promo and in Japan, and it does if this Pokemon has no damage counters on it, it does 200 for 1 fighting. I like don't even remember what this card does. That does 240 for 4 or for 3. It is a Mega Stage 2. 200 for 1 is like good. But also it's a stage 2, right? This gives up 3 prizes. I think, pretty much none of these are good. Their upside is like fine. And then their downside is like really bad, right? So I'm gonna put this card in D tier. I could even see an F tier. I'm not gonna put it there. It's not quite that bad, but it's not a very good card either. Then we have another stage 2 here that is not a mega. That is Decidueye EX. Decidueye EX is super cool. I guess I'll talk about Villain alongside it as well. Decidueye EX, if your opponent has exactly 4 cards in the hand, ignore all colorless energy in this Pokemon's attack costs, and then it's 240 then for 1 or for 4, depending if you have met the condition for the ability, and then you discard an energy attached to your opponent's active. I think this is like okay. I don't really expect to see any play. I want to put it in C tier. I guess I'll put it in C tier. Maybe it belongs in D tier, but I'll toss it in C. And then there's the villain as well. Once during your turn, Judge isn't rotating, so you can use Judge, but you can't use Iono for Decidueye EX, though. Iono is kind of sketchy for it, even if you could use it. But Villain has your opponent shuffle the hand, put it on the bottom of their deck, draw 4. It's like an okay disruptive Pokemon. I don't hate it, but like, I mean, I don't. It's not very good, right? Let's be honest. With Decidueye, you might play this. I mean, I guess you probably do, but overall, I think Villain is a card that's not very good. I'll put it in D tier. I mean, it's like mediocre. It's not super good value, and it's a stage 2. Then I guess I'll also mention Talonflame here, though it's kind of similar, to be honest. Talonflame is a card that is another stage 2 with another once per turn ability that disrupts your opponent's hand. On a coin flip here, you have your opponent discard a card from their hand, a random card as well, which is nice. I think this is a decent disruptor Pokemon. I don't think it's super good. I will put it in C tier. I don't really expect to see that much play, but I think as a control piece, as like a control finisher, it's actually really good if you can get it into play. It is a stage 2, which is bad, but other than that, I think this card is like actually really, really disruptive, to be honest. Then we have another fire disruptive Pokemon, which I'll talk about now as well. I'll talk about the other fire Pokemon, I guess. We've got Turtonator, which, I guess I'm actually going in order. I didn't mean to. But Turtonator, or mostly in order, when it takes damage from an attack, and if it's in the active, then your opponent discards an energy from the attacking Pokemon. We've seen cards like this in the past, and they're decent as Pokemon to hide behind. This is a single prize as well. I like this card, honestly, quite a bit. I think this card, I'm going to put it in B tier. This is kind of crazy, but I think this card is pretty annoying to have to deal with, especially if your opponent recovers it or like has multiple. If you're playing a deck like, I guess actually Alakazam does damage counters. I keep talking about Alakazam, but Alakazam is going to be doing damage counters, so not triggering this. But if you look at something like Dragapult EX or like really like most decks, then they're going to really struggle to deal with this losing energy a lot of the time. If they gust around it, then you've also done something really nice as well. So overall, I think that this card is pretty decent. Its attack isn't super good. It's 80 or 160 on a coin flip, which isn't very good. But overall, the card I think is cool. Then we have Salazzle EX. This is another fire Pokemon that is also somewhat disruptive focused, allowing you to poison and burn for 2 fire here, and then switch with one of your bench Pokemon. So it's hit and run, and doing 100 for 2 fire, as I said. And yeah, I mean, this is like an okay hit and run attack. It's kind of weird, but it's okay. And then Nasty Plot, search for 2 fire on, again, a stage 1 fire Pokemon EX here. This card is it's kind of bad, right? Let's be honest. It's fun. I kind of want to put it in C tier. Realistically, it probably goes in D tier. There's a lot of cards in the set that like there's a lot of EX in the set that just aren't very good. I'm not gonna lie, but the set is good, but this card is not super good, unfortunately. It's kind of bad. Then we have the next card here, which I guess I'll talk about the water stuff. We got Dugong, and we have, I guess I'll talk about Aurorus too, and then the other fossil. Aurorus I'll talk about first. It's a fossil stage 2. Fossils, as I said, are bad. Maybe I should include this one here. Well, it's in play. All your Pokemon that have water energy attached take 50 less. This doesn't even stack either. I'm going to put this in F tier. This card's like very bad. And then we have the other fossil stage 2, which is where is it? Tyrantrum here. This one's interesting. The stage 1 also has an attack doing 20 for each damage counter on it for 2. Tyrantrum gets 150 extra HP here for a total of 330 on a stage 2 single prizer if it has a special energy attached, and then you have an attack that's like super mediocre. The ability is cool. You can pair this with Get Angry and Relicanth to do some funny stuff. Oh, the attack names also might be like wrong, so we'll see if it's Tyranno Guts. Probably not, unfortunately. But ultimately, this card is also pretty bad. I'll put in E tier. It's like funny, but it's pretty bad. Moving back to water though, we have Dugong, which is like it's water Arm Rouge, moving water energy from your bench to your active. It's cool, we've seen Arm Rouge. I don't think it really has good partners, but I'll put this in B tier. I would not be shocked if this sees legitimate play at some point. I don't necessarily expect it to see that, but I definitely think it could. And then we have the Mega Starmie EX here with Jet Blow for 1 water, doing 120 and 50 to 1 opponent's bench Pokemon. This is decent damage for 1 energy on a stage 1 Mega, I guess. It's not like super good though, and again, it is a 3 prizer here, which is bad, right? That's bad, and it's not like super tanky. I mean, it's like fine, certainly, but then you have Nebula Beam, which hits the effects of stuff on your opponent's active. It doesn't hit weakness or resistance, which is bad because it can hit resistance as far as I'm aware. Maybe there's some way to do it. But tell me in the comment section actually if there is a way, either in standard, which I don't think there is, or like in unlimited, which I think there probably is. But yeah, it does like a good chunk of damage, but it is expensive, so it's not something you're regularly relying on. This was revealed alongside Dugong, but they don't really have any synergy, to be honest. Overall, I think Mega Starmie's first attack is honestly fine, kind of playing like Mega Lope on the EX, but I mean, we've seen something, I guess it's like pretty low commitment, but it's also not like super high upside either. It's like, compared to Dragapult, yes, Dragapult is 2 energy and a stage 2, but this does give up 3 prizes, and I mean, just like weaker, a Dragapult is good, but it's good because it does so much damage here. I think Mega Starmie EX, it's also blockable by Shaman, which is worse than being blockable by like Battle Cage and Dragapult EX, because Shaman is pretty easy to get into play. People don't play it that much. They play it some, but it's not that useful, and it's still super easy to toss into decks. So overall, I think Mega Starmie EX isn't very good. I guess I'll put it into C tier. I think it is like the best, I guess, Mega in the set, or maybe not. I don't know. There's a few others, but it's okay. Then we have the next Pokemon here, which is Clefable, or Mega Clefable EX here, another stage 1 Mega, and it's immune to effects of abilities from your opponent's Pokemon, which is like fine. Abilities obviously are potentially annoying, but a lot of the times they're not that annoying either. And then for 2 Psychic, you can discard up to 4 energy cards from your hand. You do 120 for more. Sorry, no, you do 120, 40 more for each energy attached. No, for each energy discard from your hand. You need the 2 attached, then you need, ideally, to do the max damage, you need 4. So it's a bunch of energy. It's kind of like Goldengo, but it's also 2 energy attached as opposed to just 1. It doesn't, I don't know. I mean, it can't do infinite damage, which is bad. This card it feels a bit lost, to be honest. There's some other cards that work with it as well, but I haven't included them in this video. I think Mega Clefable EX is also C tier. Could pair it with Liz Clefairy EX to one-shot Dragapult EX, but you also do need to use this card then, and yes, it is better having more HP, but I just don't see it, unfortunately. I mean, I wish this card was good, but I don't see it here. Then we have Mega Skarmory EX. Mega Skarmory EX here does 220 snipe. You shuffle on the energy, attach it into your deck, kind of like Ultimax Ogerpon EX here for Metal Colorless, and that is cool. There are a lot of ways, or there's some ways to stop sniping, as I mentioned earlier. There's Shaman, and there's also the Terra rule or whatever. Overall, Mega Skarmory, I think, also doesn't really have anything super good to pair with. I guess there's Metang, but like Metang isn't super good because it's not so consistent. And then 220 snipe is good, but like, what exactly are you sniping? I guess Pheasant Nifty EX, but your opponent can just like not play that at the beginning of the game pretty consistently and hopefully find it. Actually, maybe they won't be able to find it as easily with the rotation and Nest Ball, but like, there's also stuff like the Ogre Ponds, which you can't snipe, or like a lot of other Terras that you can't snipe. So yeah, Mega Skarmory EX I think is kind of bad, unfortunately. It's okay. Yes, it goes in C tier, which it's okay. What it does is okay, but in the situation of the metagame, it's bad, unfortunately. Then we have Doublade here. Oh, I'll go back to Holinsha. With Doublade, you reveal any number of Honedge, Doublade, and Aegislash from your hand. You do 60 for each card revealed this way, and then it is 2 colors here, and it is a stage 1 single prizer. Honestly, I think this card's pretty decent as a single prize deck. Kind of reminds me of Alakazam. It's not the same energy commitment, it is going to require realistically a special energy or like something else. But I do like this. I think it's relatively doable. There isn't that much hand disruption in the game, so I like this card. I think this is a decent single prize deck. I don't know if it's underrated, but I think it's pretty good here. Then we have another cool single prizer here. I guess I'll go over the rest of them. We got Eradicate. This one does 40 for each damage counter on all your bench Rattata. Theoretically, this can do decent damage, but one, the Rattata's HP are like super low. I believe they're all 40, or I think there's only one because the other one's rotating. And so it is Rattata. It's not Team Rocket's Rattata, which I'm pretty sure we have. So that's bad. And then also it's like really hard to get damage counters, or it's like kind of hard to get damage counters on them. If they could take a lot, it's hard to get them there. So this card seems fun, but it also seems kind of terrible, unfortunately. Also, it's like super vulnerable to damage counters being placed on it from like anything, because the idea is to get lots of damage counters on your bench Pokemon, and then you're gonna be super low. So yeah, this could go very badly very quickly. Unfortunately, it's really cool, but I'm gonna put it in F tier. I think it has none of the pieces it needs, and if it did, it would still be kind of bad. Then we have the I guess I'll talk about Meowth EX now. Meowth EX is the best card in the set, or the best card in the set outside of Pokepad, with the ability Trump Card Catch. There's like some weird stuff on the wording of it where like you can't use it alongside other abilities that don't exist. But anyways, it's a once per turn ability, letting you, or no, you can only use one of this ability per turn, but it's just on playability, letting you search for a supporter card and put it into your hand on play from hand, as well as rotating, as I said. But yeah, I mean, this card I think is super good. We've seen cards like this in the past. It also has a hit and run attack returning to your hand, which is good. Overall, Meowth EX I think is clearly very, very good. Definitely going in S tier. Well, I think immediately it might not necessarily be an S tier card. I think it's super good with Carmen, allowing you to, go ahead and turn one, get Carmen, and then with your Carmen, you're just going to go ahead and discard your hand, draw 5, which is like Squawkabilly EX, but it's not just usable turn 1. It is worse than Squawkabilly EX turn 1, I would say, by a meaningful amount, but the rest of the turns is like super good. This is going to be a new staple Pokemon in the Pokemon TCG, I think. I think I think it's very good, right? It's very powerful. Being able to search for a supporter is nice. Supporters are super good. They can be used to close up the game with pause. They can be used to disrupt. We are losing Iono, but there are still disruption supporters. And they can also, of course, be used to draw you cards and get exactly what you want. So, I mean, this card is like super good and super versatile. It doesn't go necessarily in every deck because it is a liability at 170 HP, but it is still super good. Then we have the last EX here, which is a Volatile EX. A Volatile EX is super cool, knocking out each of your opponent's Pokemon that has 50 HP or less remaining, which is interesting. And for 3, you could also do Dark Strike 210. They're both 2 Darkness and a Colorless. And then you can't use that attack next turn. The Dark Strike attack is like fine. This kind of reminds me of Roaring Moon EX, but it's got like more sauce to it, like in a bad way, I guess, because the second or the first attack, the like knockout attack, is super chaotic and hard to use. But I think this is a cool card here. Is it good? No, but is it fun? Yeah, this card is really fun. How do you get damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon? I mean, there's something like Dusknoir, but like realistically, it's just you want to get 20 damage counters, maybe using Visky Ruins. They buddy by Poffin, then you attack with this, and then that's like really bad for them. They kind of just lose. So that's kind of fun. I do like a Veltal. I don't expect it to be good, but I think it's a really, really fun card here. And I'm really interested in hearing people's thoughts in the comment section as well if they have ideas. I guess there's a Monkey Dory with Toxtricity as well. I guess this goes really well within Toxtricity box, or like decently within Toxtricity box. Then the last card we have here is oh wait, where am I putting this? This is going to go in, it'll go in C tier. Again, a lot of these cards are like fine. I think it's fine. Then the last card we have here, it might also go in C tier, which is Hawlucha. Hawlucha, I think, is actually pretty underrated. This card is a single prizer for 1 fighting energy here that says you do 30, but if your bench Pokemon have any damage counters on them, then you do 60 more damage. So yeah, this can do 90 for 1 fighting. We've seen Lunatone be pretty good. And when this is played by Powerful Searchable, could be bad. It could get knocked out by Lunatone, but it is nice for that. And any damage counters on your own bench isn't too hard, and this can hit weakness. So I do like Hawlucha. I don't think it's crazy good, but I think this card is kind of like Moltres. Moltres does 210 to an EX, or not 210, 120. Wait, is it 120 or is it 110? Moltres does yeah, 110. Okay, so yeah, it does 110. But against a single prizer, it only does 20. Yes, it does actually one-shot Badoo, which is like good, but it also It doesn't really one-shot Pokemon that often. Hawlucha, I think, will one-shot more Pokemon and can hit single parts as well turn one. Though getting the damage counters on is a little sketchy, though there are some decks that definitely will enable it, like Dragapult. So overall, I think Hawlucha is a decent card. I'm going to put it in. I will put it in C tier. I think as a single parser, I mean, it's the only single parser in C tier. Actually, there's a bunch that are higher. There's a bunch that include as well, and a bunch that are lower as well. But overall, I think the set is super good. Pokepad, if you count that in this set, this card is very, very good. If you don't, I think there's still some really nice, powerful cards. I mean, Meowth X is a clear card that's going to be very good. I don't think that's a crazy take at all. I think most people would probably agree with that. So I'm really interested in hearing your thoughts down below in the comment section, but I hope you enjoyed. Tell me if you have any other videos you want to see me make. I'm really excited to make more content in the future. I'm a little bit busy, but I hopefully will. I'm going to get my schedule worked out, and I've got some really cool plans. But I hope you enjoyed. And as I said, see you in the next video.